Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's realistic review in which we are taking a look at the B-29A sitting at 7.3 battle rating in rank 4. The last bomber in rank 4. It is a beauty, isn't it? Graceful plane, lovely to look at. The Superfortress, very well known, famous actually. So famous that it was copied by the Soviets, made into the Tu-4. But yeah, this is a fantastic plane, and it is great to fly with her. It's just that battle rating, man, it's 7.3. You'll be facing jets all the time up to 8.3, and that is a bit rough, I have to say. It is a little bit rough. Yes, you have good turrets, but it's mostly double 50 cal turrets. There's one 450 cal turret in the front on the top. The rest of the turrets, which is 4 other turrets, so 5 turrets in total, is it's a double 50 cal turret. So most of the time you will be shooting at enemies with 4, maybe 6 guns, let's say. And despite that being reasonable firepower, it is the firepower of a Mustang basically, not that fantastic. And you'll often be shot at with 4, 6, 20 millimeters or maybe 4, 30 millimeters. So big caliber guns, you will die. And you have more trouble aiming than the fighters. So all in all, it is quite terrible. Now when they come from the side like this, you can shoot with more guns, but that doesn't happen all the time now, does it? Most of the time they come from either below or from the top. But anyway, it is a little bit of a problem flying this plane at 7.3, and you usually will be able to get your bombs off target, on target, and get a plane. And I guess if you practice, this will become more regular, but I don't have completely a 1-to-1 kill death ratio, although it comes close. And you don't always reach the bases, because on some maps, I mean, these jets, some of these jets, they can definitely zoom climb up to you, and that is a bit of a problem depending on which map you are at. In smaller maps they won't have the time to climb up to you, but on the medium to big maps you're always gonna have problems. And yeah, that's the only downside to this plane. For the rest, it's a wonderful bomber to fly, very smooth and all. It's a joy to fly. Now, before we get into the details of this plane, do make sure to give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. How do you like this plane? What have you enjoyed about it? What is difficult in this plane for you? Let me know about that. Share the video, and of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe. We have a lot more content on the way. We're on the last few planes in rank 4, and then we're moving on to rank 5 as we make the rank 4 review. So there's a lot more on the way. Also join me on Locals and Discord. And if you want to communicate with me, get in contact, sometimes fly with me, make sure to join my Discord. All those links will be in the description below. Now, the maximum speed in the B-29 at sea level without web is 435 kilometers an hour. With web 445. At 4,500 meters she'll go up to 400 kilometers an hour, both with and without web. And at 6,500 meters she can take you to 374, again both with and without web. So the web doesn't do much for you, at least at 45 and 6,500 meters. I have not quite tested where she ends, maybe at 3,000, maybe at 3,500, but once she ends, she will no longer have any use. But it really doesn't really matter, right, in a bomber. The top speed in a dive in this plane is 579 if you're in the ideal elevation down, and not too steep. The red line is 579, as I said, and she will rip at around 625-ish, depending on your angle. In the ideal angle is not too steep, otherwise you can rip earlier. Control stiffening is not relevant, and the stall speed is around 200 kilometers an hour. You have 5 turrets, as I said, so the firepower is good, but nothing spectacular, I have to say. It's 4 double 12.7 millimeter Browning machine guns with 500 rounds per gun, and there is 1 quadruple 12.7 millimeter Browning machine gun turret with 250 rounds per gun. A little bit less rounds per gun, but still, if you use it tap wise, you will never get into the red, and you won't have to reload. There is also a lot of bomb options on this plane. You have a lot of options: 20 times 500 pounds, let's say 40 times 500 pounds, 18 times 1000 pounds, 8 times 2000 pounds, and 4 times 4000 pounds. So those bomb loads are quite good, and you have a whole wide range with what you want to do with that. I would basically focus on base bombing in this plane if I were you, but 40 times 500 pounds is very nice for ground pounding if you want to go do that. Column attacking and stuff like that. I don't recommend it too much because this plane is not very maneuverable, but all in all that might be fun for you. The belts in the turrets are the default belt, which has an APIT, 2 AP and 1 incendiary shell. The armored belt has 3 times AP, which is armor piercing, 1 APIT, armor piercing incendiary tracer shell, and the universal belt has an API, an incendiary, another API, and an APIT. So I usually run with universal as it has incendiary in every shell, and it just causes many more fire, so I prefer that one myself. The ammo loads in the plane are very good, I have to say, in the turrets, very nice, and the spread in the turrets is actually quite good. As I said, they on the sides it's the best because the bottom and the top turrets can fire to the sides, and you will be able to fire with 4 turrets there. But when people come from above, you often have the 2 turrets, and from the back you can have, depending on the angle, you can have the 3 turrets firing. So the spread usually is quite good, but exactly from the top and from the bottom can be a little bit of a problem. And especially the jets with the 30mm shells, they make short work of this thing. Also, a good burst of 20mm on the wing, on one wing, will unbalance the plane, and you often will tumble down. Those are the downsides of this plane. Those are the weaknesses you have to keep in mind. You want to climb as soon as you can, as quickly as you can, and get out of range of those initial fighters that come your way. But it doesn't always work, as I said. It's tough at this battle rating. The performance in this plane is bad. Both the acceleration and the energy retention are not great. She's a huge plane with a lot of drag, and she does have 4 good engines, but yeah, it's a little bit on the lower end at this battle rating. She doesn't climb very well, so you really need to be a little bit lucky, or really side climb to the extreme side, basically. Climb rate is only average, although compared to some of the bombers at 5.7s is actually quite decent. But yeah, this plane doesn't sit at 5.7, does it? It sits in a whole different range, and that makes it terrible. Turn time in the plane is atrocious, bad with flaps. Flaps rip off at around 370 kilometers an hour. Roll rate, well, never mind that. This is a huge bomber. She cannot roll over the top. If you roll over the top, you have the risk of tumbling out of the sky and ripping your wings. So don't try to roll over the top. She can roll, of course, to 90 degrees, and from there you can move on and turn. Maneuverability overall is bad in the plane. She's quite cumbersome when it comes to moving and adjusting. But you'll get used to it. It's workable. Overheating in the plane is bad though. It overheats quickly. It doesn't cool off very easily, so it's something you will have to manage. Durability in the plane is decent. Can take quite a lot of damage to the fuselage. I say that explicitly because it doesn't take wing damage very well. The wings are vulnerable, and if you have one wing that is really damaged and the other one isn't, you have such a discrepancy in lift that it will be hard for you to keep her in the air if the damage is big enough. Repair cost in the plane is 16,128 Silver Lions, which is the highest at its battle rating. It's absolutely horrendous, atrocious, terrible. What else can I say? And then the rewards in this plane are 396% in the modifier for the research points, and a 1.84 multiplier there, with the Silver Lion rewards having a 390% modifier with a 2.6% with a 2.6 multiplier. This is bad for both. Most jets are way ahead of this plane, and it seems like this plane got stuck somewhere along the rises in battle ratings he got, and never really got adjusted in the rewards for the 7.3 battle rating where she sits at right now, combined with the repair cost, which is insanely high. This plane is very bad for getting any kind of reward or farming of Silver Lions and research points. The plane just doesn't do that very well. It's maybe I think it's the worst bomber actually, especially with all the jets that you face and the difficulties you see there. So yeah, not great when it comes to that. So why do you want to fly this plane in the end? She's a good base bomber with insane bomb loads. This is true. This is very nice. She still sits in rank 4, but rank 4 can, since a long time already, fly against rank 5, and of course this means that you will be facing jets all the time basically. And it's a bit frustrating in the end, especially the ones with the bigger calibers. They often make short work of you, so you will die a lot, and those 5 turrets just aren't enough. This is not the TU4 with 23 millimeters. This is just 50 cals, and 50 cals with a quick pass. If you keep your jet quick on the pace, this plane will probably only give you a couple of hits, and you will be able to cripple the plane or kill her. So yeah, the B-29 sits in a tough spot at the moment at 7.3 battle rating. It doesn't give you high rewards. It's a base bomber that looks awesome. It's a graceful beauty of a plane, but that's about it when you're looking at it objectively at this battle rating. And I'm sure there's some few experienced bomber pilots that do nothing but flying bombers that can make it work out of the ordinary well, let's say way above average, but that is not due to the plane. That is due to their developed pilot skill. And I mean, gunnery, bomber gunnery is an art in itself. So if you get really good at that, you might be able to get 2-3 planes per match. But if you are just decent in bomber gunnery like me, just I might be good even, but you know, then you get 1 plane per match. So yeah, this is not for the beginners out there. This plane is for the veteran bombers if you want to really make it work. Otherwise it's just pain, this plane. Hey guys, so here we are after the match. The B-29A is a wonderful looking plane. I like this plane. I like the historical value. I love flying her. She's very graceful. She has great bomb loads. It has some decent turrets, but at the battle rating where she sits, it is a bit of a pain to fly. There's a lot of jets you'll be facing, and if they speed up in level flight and then zoom climb up, very often they'll be able to at least shoot at you, and yeah, it can be quite painful with those 4 30 millimeters that you sometimes face, or 37 millimeters from MiGs. It's just a lot of hurt in this plane, especially in up tiers to 8.3. But you can get your occasional fighter. Maybe I am quite close to the 1-on-1 kill-death ratio, but it is not easy, especially if you are a little bit newer in the game. Your gunnery needs to be on point, and in bomber gunnery that is just not an easy thing to do. For the rest, you have those terrible rewards, high repair cost, very high repair cost, and rewards that are bad comparatively to other 7.3 fighters and bombers. So all in all, this plane, it doesn't have a lot of reasons why you would want to fly this, and I cannot really recommend it, because it's just there's a lot of pain to be had, and there's only a few upsides. There's great bomb loads, but you do have to get to a position where you can throw them and get them off and get some rewards in. And I have to say that at this battle rating, it's just maybe it's not worth it. But I barely don't want to say that, because it's just such a wonderful looking plane, isn't it? It's great to be flying her. It's just it's wonderful, but yeah, once you get into combat, it's not so wonderful. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, Make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.